shadowed one of the judges, and I'd like them to tell you about their experience, because this is something that's really important and we want to get this even bigger. So tell us a little about your experience, please.
Hi, my name is Nicole Opfert, and I am a junior. I shadowed Judge Ellsworth, who's in Department 5. I began that day in the courtroom with, images from my favorite shows, Suits and Franklin and Bash. But in reality of Judge Ellsworth's courtroom, I got a different perspective. There was a lot of activity happening prior to her entering, and when the bailiff announced "All rise," it stopped for a while, but then it continued, but on a quieter scale. It was a little troubling, though, that Judge Ellsworth, she was respecting everyone else in her courtroom, but I didn't see the same respect given back to her. I was always taught to respect those who are speaking and show additional respect for those who've earned their titles, like judges. So it was a little upsetting that I didn't get to see that there. But Judge Ellsworth, I thought she displayed respect and she showed understanding and she gave clear decisions in her courtroom. A lot more goes on into a courtroom than you seem to understand, but from my experience firsthand, Mr. C. Wolfson said it best, that some judges' decisions follow you for the rest of your life. So, in closing my experience, I had the opportunity to be a part of something that confirms I'm making the right choice in my future career. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hannah Brazil. I go here at Cayman Springs High School, and I had the opportunity to shadow Judge Abbi Silver. And when I first walked into the chambers, I was of course nervous, but as soon as I walked in, everyone greeted me with open arms, and I had the amazing experience of sitting next to her in her courtroom and hearing all the cases. And I noticed that they weren't prolonged. Everything was done in a timely manner and everything got accomplished. Also, it was quite interesting. Everything was kind of light and it was not overpowering nor boring, to say the least. And I would like to thank her and everyone in the Veterans in Politics program for this opportunity. Thank you.
My name's Nancy West, and I'm the coordinator of the Leadership in Law program here at Canyon Springs. And I'm going to read some remarks from one of our students, Deja Mayfield, who had the opportunity to shadow Judge Villani. She was very disappointed that she couldn't be at the event today, and she wanted to make sure that her comments were heard. So this is what she has to say. This was a wonderful experience, and I was intrigued by what I saw when I shadowed Judge Michael P. Villani. The reason I wanted to shadow a judge was because I wanted to know what goes on in court behind the curtains, as well as be able to view the show at the same time. The idea that I would get to see both sides made me eager to want to shadow Judge Villani. Before I arrived, I expected I would see a trial, sit with the judge, and understand his role. I wanted to know the daily trials and tribulations that he deals with. But when I arrived, I was very astounded by the courtroom and the amount of people in it. It was already filled with inmates, and that slightly scared me. I was visiting on a day when inmates had appellate hearings to update the judge on their status and see if they get parole or not. Judge Villani took people's situations under consideration and gave inmates a second chance and sometimes a third chance to do something with their lives. Before the proceedings began, I was handed a packet filled with all the inmates' names and situations that were scheduled that day. It was a great reference for me to understand what was going on in the courtroom. The courtroom staff was welcoming, and they made it a comfortable experience. Finally, and most importantly, my impression of Judge Villani is that he's a great man who likes to help other people. He gave inmates the opportunity to turn their lives around. I believe that he makes a difference in many lives. I really do appreciate the experience given to me by Judge Villani and Veterans in Politics. Judge Villani helped confirm that I want to continue my journey to become a judge myself one day. Thank you.
Okay, let's have some fun. We're going to take some questions from the audience, if there are any, and then Mr. Kohn and I have some questions. So let's get started with this. A couple of the judges have actually started their careers at a lower level, like municipal court, and then advanced through the court system to rise to being a district court judge. One of them is Abbi Silver. So Abbi, come on up here, and in 1 minute, please, tell us the differences between the three levels of the judicial system: Las Vegas Municipal Court, Las Vegas Justice Court, and now your current position of district court.
All right. Las Vegas Municipal Court handles all misdemeanors and traffic offenses, what we say is in the city of Las Vegas. Now, the city of Las Vegas, generally the jurisdiction is anything north of Sahara Avenue, besides North Las Vegas, is the city of Las Vegas. There's also little pockets like in the lakes and a couple other places, but it's generally anything north of Sahara Avenue. The Las Vegas Justice Court that I presided over, that handles all misdemeanors south of Sahara Avenue. It also handles the traffic offenses south of Sahara Avenue. That's in the Las Vegas Township. And all felony and gross misdemeanor cases, criminal cases, for preliminary hearing to see whether or not there's probable cause to see if somebody has committed the crime and they're the person who did it. And the 8th Judicial District Court judges, at least the seat that I'm in now, I handle those cases, civil and criminal, no family court. I don't handle any family matters. But I handle all criminal, we're the trial court, so we handle jury trials, and I preside over civil bench trials. But it's generally all the gross misdemeanors and felony jury trial cases, anything from murder cases to burglary cases, and civil cases such as personal injury cases, medical malpractice cases, contract cases, anything with damages over $50,000. And that's pretty much the difference.
In a nutshell, you did a great job.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hope you have a tape of that. The Clark County Public Defender's Office does not participate in the North Las Vegas Municipal Court, the Las Vegas Municipal Court, or the Henderson Municipal Court that Judge Mark Stevens is here from. And I can't tell you how many times we get a call from someone who is in the North Las Vegas Municipal Court, calls us, wants to know who their lawyer is, and we try to explain, no, we don't go out there, and they think we're just passing the buck. So, Judge Silver, I wish I could take what you just did and make it a public service announcement. It really helped me. I'm going to ask one of the new judges, Jessica. What is your greatest enjoyment of being a judge, and what is your greatest challenge now that you've done this for a year?
Thank you. My greatest enjoyment is that it's every day when I'm in the courtroom and I'm hearing cases, it impacts people's lives. Every single case is critical. I have a civil calendar, and the decisions that I make affect someone. It doesn't matter which case it is. Every single case is very, very important. And it's important to follow through it, and it brings me joy in the way that I'm conducting it, because I'm studying, I'm being very thoughtful. Sometimes it's obvious, the decision can't go for the other side necessarily, but I treat everyone with respect, the attorneys, the parties. I think it's very, very important to make sure that they understand, and I understand, that it's an honor to be here, and that they feel respected as everyone should. So that's the greatest joy, to be able to serve in this capacity and do it with a lot of thought and dedication. I think the most difficult part is that I would like to hear more cases. Believe it or not, it's my first year, and I've been participating in the settlement conference a great deal, and this is an opportunity for cases to settle without going through trial, without picking a jury, and I've been having some luck with those, and I actually had one in Spanish the other day. Occasionally they don't settle, and that's disappointing to me, because I think that there's an opportunity to work together with the parties and try to avoid the stress, the expense, and the time that going to, and the emotional issues that going to trial will bring. But, trial is critical as well. So that's it for me so far this year.
Thank you, Judge Escobar. Great job. back up here quickly. Sometimes you hear cases where litigants do not have a lawyer and they represent themselves in court. Does that fact cause a judge to handle the case any differently? I didn't say it was going to be easy.
Right, so we do have that happen where we have some individuals who choose to represent themselves, and of course individuals can represent themselves in court. And I guess in a sense it is a little different as a judge, but someone who represents themselves in court is still required to follow all the rules and procedures even though they're not an attorney. And that is what I expect, but having said that, I also as a judge need to be a little bit flexible. For example, in civil cases, when one party files a motion, if the other side hasn't filed a timely opposition, we'll typically just grant the motion as unopposed and take it off the calendar. However, if the party opposing the motion is not represented by an attorney in my department, we'll go ahead and keep it on calendar for the hearing date and at least give that person the opportunity, if they want to show up in court the day of the hearing, so I at least can potentially hear what they have to say in response to the motion. You know, on the one hand, you can require them to comply with the rules, but you have to use your common sense as well and understand that they may have some challenges and difficulties. But I also have to balance it because I don't want a party on the other side who is following the rules and is meeting their deadlines and requirements to end up at a disadvantage because they're against someone who's not represented. So it's a delicate balance, but requiring them to follow the rules, but also, you know, not losing sight of your common sense at the same time is important.
Very good.
A disclaimer, judges cannot comment on pending cases. Okay, so nothing I ask and nothing Steve asks certainly goes to a pending case. With that, Judge Cory. No, you've had my job in the federal system. You've been in this committee for a long time. There's been a lot of discussion in the newspapers about mental health and how we in Nevada are dealing with mental health. Are the courts doing enough? If so, why? And if not, what can the courts do?
I don't think that as judges we could ever say that we are doing enough. I mean, it is a constant battle and a constant effort to try and improve what we're doing, to make our decisions more just, and to handle the problems that we encounter that sometimes get dumped in our courtrooms as a case, when in reality it's really a societal problem. In the area of mental health, of course, where we usually see it is, instead of seeing someone before a judge to see about a possible civil commitment, we see the judge sees that person in chains as a criminal defendant in a criminal case. People who are mentally unstable oftentimes run afoul of the law, even if it's just a technical violation. So we see that the mental health problems get converted into criminal law problems. Now, as judges, we try to do the best we can to do justice and to try and allow the opportunity for people whose main problem is mental health to receive that kind of treatment rather than just getting sort of warehoused in our prisons.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. Excellent question. Here's a question from the audience. And I pose this to any of our judges who have not yet spoken this morning. What are the judges doing for veterans? And have any of you served in the military? Interesting question. What are the judges, in other words, what are our courts doing for veterans? Now, our specialty court judge that handles veterans court is not here right now. But you have veterans come in front of you on cases on a regular basis. Do you give any particular consideration or not to a person just because they're a veteran?
Although I'm not a veteran, my husband is a veteran. He was a Marine, so I don't know if that counts. But it does to my husband, I will say that. He was a Marine in Vietnam, and he's now a Chief Deputy District Attorney. Works. His boss is standing right here, Mr. Wolfson. I will tell you, when I was on the campaign after I was appointed and I was up for election or to be retained, veterans are a very big thing to this community. I received a lot of questions about the Veterans Court, which now Linda Bell is doing. I have talked with Linda quite extensively, and she was working very hard, and that is a specialty court that treats veterans and takes them out of the criminal system. Although I haven't been involved in it, I know she is working very, very hard. She told me she's exhausted and loves it. So I have had 2 veterans. I have one that is a pro per just recently who is having some post-traumatic stress difficulty, and I actually did give him help as a pro per claimant, and as a veteran, he needed time for treatment before he could respond to a motion, and I did grant that because I thought that was extremely fair. It was a dispositive motion, and in fact, I just did that last week. So they do impact judges, and I did feel that he had good cause, which was required under the Nevada Rules of Civil Procedure, so I did grant it. So at least that's my opinion.
Judge Villani, I've got an interesting question for you. You think it's going to be some fancy legal, oh my gosh, quite the contrary. Do judges talk amongst themselves? Describe a situation where you might walk down the hallway and talk to one of your colleagues.
I think on the bench we have a good collegial atmosphere. A lot of judges are good friends. We see each other at various social functions as well as legal functions. And it's not uncommon that a judge might have a particular legal issue and may just run it by another judge. It's still, even though we talk to our colleagues, it's still our final decision. We have to weigh the pros and cons of all cases, read the briefs that have been submitted by the parties, hear their oral argument, and it's our final decision. And we make decisions based upon the law and the facts. Oftentimes our decisions may not be popular, but our job is not to make the decision that's popular. Our job is to make the correct decision. And in that way, justice is served in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, you probably don't even know what I do.
I know you work in that big building.
Oh, yeah.
I don't handle civil cases.
I understand.
I know it's really easy to answer this question by telling them good grades. But for the students and parents out there, to get a young person who's 16 or 17 now, really doesn't know what they want to do, but is maybe impressed by what they see today, what advice can you give them to put them in a position to be where you are now?
Well, that's a really good question for me, I guess.
I wrote it. Did you write it? This is my question. Go ahead.
Just a couple of comments. Number one, I didn't grow up in Las Vegas, but in many respects I consider myself a native Nevada because I've been here 4 decades. That's a long time. Does that meet the requirement, Judge Silver? Yes, but I grew up in a neighborhood and went to a high school very similar in many respects to Canyon Springs High School. And for a young person, I know it's very difficult to see where you want to get to and how do you get there. I think the first and most important aspect of that really comes down to the types of people and the role models you have in your life. I mean, that's so important. Here we have a great faculty, we have a principal. And I think you have to just get around people that hopefully can get you to where you want to get. And what I mean by that is this. When I was in high school, I didn't grow up and want to be a lawyer. The only thing I knew is I had to go to college. And it wasn't until once I got into college that decision was ultimately made. So I feel, for a young person, and I really want to put it this way, this is what I tell young people all the time, you got to be careful as far as who you associate with. If you have a friend, and it's Johnny from around the way, and he has a car, just don't get into the car when Johnny comes by. You have to be careful as far as your choices you make. And ultimately it comes down to choices, and if you make the right choices, maybe at some point you'll make a decision that you want to go to law school. But you have to make the right choice to have that opportunity to go to law school.
Excellent answer. talk into the microphone. Here's a question from the audience. How does the mental health or emotional health of a party influence decisions? What do you like to have from mental health professionals?
We get risk assessments and evaluations before sentencing from mental health professionals. If we have a concern about competency, the state law requires us to halt the processing of the case, to have the person referred for appropriate treatment, to have them stabilized and competent before we can proceed any further. So that's a big help to us to get that professional aid from the mental health community. As far as the last question goes, I want to go back to the mentorship program that I was talking about. It is really important to have good mentors. And when I was your age, I was not even thinking about going to law school. It wasn't until my mid-20s that I thought about it. And continue with your education, take one step at a time, and the more education you have in whatever area, the more opportunities you'll have.
Great. Thank you. I think we've heard from everybody except Judge Mark Denton. Come on up, Judge Mark Denton. Isn't that right? Well, I have a question from the audience for you, Judge Denton. Experience is important. How important is temperament, and how important is the need for an appellate court? Let's save the appellate court for perhaps Judge Ellsworth. Okay, so you have a little introduction. Talk to us about temperament.
Well, I think temperament is extremely important. People come before me with very important matters in their lives. And I indicated to you earlier, I do all civil matters, business matters, and that kind of thing. But people come before me with very important matters, and they need to know that I'm reading what the lawyers write, I'm listening to what they say, I'm giving due consideration to what it is that is being presented to me. And I can tell you in my 22 years of law practice, I appeared before district judges all the time. I never made my determination as to whether a judge was good because the judge had ruled for or against me. That wasn't really the main consideration. The main consideration to me was how were I and my client treated by the judge. Very, very important. I want to emphasize that how I appear to litigants in my temperament is extremely important to me. And
great answer. Thank you very much. I think Judge Ellsworth, you are our last judge. And next year, the voters will be asked to vote on an intermediate appellate court. I think this is an effort that has been tried before. I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this one and to see if it succeeds. So, do we need an appellate court, an intermediate appellate court?
Yes, I think we do, and here's why. When our judicial system was set up in our Constitution, when we achieved statehood, this was a very small state with the primary industries of mining and cattle ranching. Many of our older cases deal with cattle rustlers, and when you go back and you read old cases. And so obviously our state has changed. It's changed incredibly just in the years I've been here. When I moved here in 1979, the population of Las Vegas was 400,000, and now it's close to 2 million. So what happens, unlike many other states where there is an intermediate court of appeal, what happens when the district court judges make a decision here at the trial level, if one of the parties is dissatisfied, they have the chance to appeal that. And of course, when I first started practicing law, I think we had about 8 district court judges at the time, and now we have 52. So what happens is all of the appeals go up to the Supreme Court. And as you can imagine, with all of the cases that are being decided by our district court judges, the bottleneck that has happened at the Supreme Court level has become immense. And even though our court has expanded and they now sit in panels to try and address this, it's still a huge workload. And what we're trying to achieve without additional expense and in terms of bricks and mortar is get an intermediate court of appeals where it's a push down from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will send cases down to what will be a 3-court, if it passes, court of appeal. And what this really means to the community is justice in a timely fashion. And obviously you've heard the expression, justice, denied is we don't have justice, right? Okay, well, that's what happens if things are sitting up in the Supreme Court for 2 years before there's a decision, and it's already taken 2 years in district court. So what we're trying to do is get these cases decided more quickly so we have a modern judicial system that addresses the needs of our current community.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that concludes this panel to keep our program moving. Thank you, judges. We're going to ask if you can to stick around, please. So let's have a round of applause for these panel. Okay, next up, judges David Barker, Jerome Tao, Valorie Adair, Susan Johnson, Stephanie Miley, Gloria Sturman, Nancy Alf, Ronald Israel, Jerry A. Reese, and Joanna Kishner. Please come up. We're getting some excellent questions from the audience, but let's proceed with our format, which is asking each of you to come up for about 65 seconds and give just a brief introduction about yourself, but going in the order in which I called you. Judge David Barker. Round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name again is David Barker. I'm the presiding judge in Department 18. My background briefly is I graduated from University of California, Irvine in 1981, Pepperdine in 1983, law school, prosecuted for 23 years, appointed to the bench in 2007. While on the bench and before, frankly, I was involved with the community in mock trial, high school mock trial. I've enjoyed that experience greatly, interacting with students. I hope to involve myself in that and continue to involve myself.
Excellent. Thank you, Judge Barker.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks to Steve and for everybody who's here today for taking time out of your Saturday to come listen to us. My name is Jerry Tao. I'm the District Judge in Department 20. I was appointed to the bench in 2011 by Governor Sandoval. Prior to taking the bench, I worked in both of their offices. I was a deputy DA for a few years. I was in Phil's office as a chief deputy public defender immediately before I was appointed to the bench. I've also worked on Capitol Hill, and I've also worked in civil practice in various contexts. And I appreciate everybody being here, and hope you guys are able to take something educational out of this home with you. Thanks.
Judge Johnson, please. Oh, Judge Adair, I'm just mixing it up to keep you guys honest. Judge Adair. Who's running this program, Judge Johnson? Come on. Judge Valorie Adair, talk to us.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. My name is Valorie Adair, and I'm the judge in District Court Department 21. I've been the judge there for approximately a decade and a half. I was elected to the bench in 2002 to Department 21, which was a newly created seat. I currently have a split civil and criminal caseload. Before becoming a district court judge, I served for 12 years as a Clark County Deputy District Attorney. I handled all types of cases ranging from misdemeanors to murder cases. At the time I was elected, I was a Chief Deputy District Attorney heading the Major Fraud Division, where I specialized in complex white-collar crimes and the financial exploitation of the elderly. I'm a native Las Vegan. I attended all public schools here in Las Vegas, graduating from Clark High School. From there, I went on and obtained a BA at Harvard University and my JD at Georgetown University Law Center. Thank you.
Excellent. Judge Johnson.
My name is Susan Johnson, and I'm the District Court Judge in Department number 22. I've been a judge since January of 2007, and if you were to go around the courthouse, my courtroom is in courtroom 15D. It is one of the largest courtrooms in our facility because I hear constructional defect cases as well as civil cases, just like Judge Williams does. The kinds of cases that I hear last month, the last constructional defect case that I heard was 5.5 months. That was a short case compared to my 9-month one, but in any event, that's the kind of cases that I hear. I am a 50-year resident of Clark County, Nevada. I'm very proud of that, and I also went to Clark High School. So I'm very proud of that, and my children went to Green Valley High School. They were very active in volleyball, and of course I was a volleyball and soccer mom, and I am very proud to say that. I am very active in the community. I am a member of the Rotary Club of Green Valley, and we do lots of community works, and I think it is very important to be involved with your community. Thank you.
Super, thank you. Judge Stephanie Miley.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Miley. I'm the District Court Judge in Department 23. I have been on the bench since 2005. I first came to Las Vegas in 1995. I'm originally a Texan. I graduated from Texas A&M University and then went to Cal Western School of Law in San Diego. I came here in 1995 to do an internship with a judge, and I decided to make Nevada my permanent home. Thereafter, I was in several large law firms here in Las Vegas doing civil litigation, both plaintiff and defense work. I was elected to the bench in 2005. At that time, I was elected into the family division. So I did family court cases for approximately 4 years until being elected into the civil and criminal division in 2009. Since 2009, I've been doing primarily criminal and civil cases. Thank you.
Judge Valorie J.
Hi, I'm Gloria Sturman. I'm a judge in Department 26. My department is 100% civil, plus I also have an extra assignment of probate. I went to law school at Arizona State University, and my placement director said, you should go to Nevada and work on the MGM fire case with Judge Earley. You'll only have to stay 2 years, and you'll get great experience. And that was 30 years ago. I never left. I've been very happy here. I got involved in bar association activities. I was president of the women's bar, the county bar, and the state bar. I really loved working with my fellow attorneys on bar association activities, and ultimately decided to leave my civil practice and run for the bench. Been very happy doing my civil cases, which is what my background was as a practicing attorney, and also my special assignment of probate. Thank you.
Nancy Alf.
I'm Nancy Elf, and I have the honor of serving you in Department 27 of the District Court. And it is an honor because I believe in this system. I believe that the bedrock of every society, civilized society, is that people come to court to settle their differences. On the criminal side, they come to court. On the civil side, they come. And we want to make the court a place where people feel welcome, and it is the only and best place for people to settle their disputes. And because of that, I work hard. I do my best to be prepared. I hope that every time I take the bench, I can earn your respect, because I treat everyone in the courtroom with dignity and respect. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Judge Elf. Judge Israel. You knew you were next. You're paying attention.
I am, in case you didn't know. Both Nancy. I'm Ron Israel. I'm judge in District Court, Department 28. I took the bar with the last 2 judges. It's no coincidence. We all decided to run again, and 2.5 years ago. We've been on the bench for 2.5 years doing mostly civil, some criminal overflow cases. I started out 30 years ago doing the MGM fire, as several of the other attorneys, now judges, have done. Worked with various civil firms doing both plaintiffs and defense law. 30 years on that, doing private practice, and then now I'm on the bench. I was an arbitrator and a short trial judge for almost 10 years before I took the bench. Thank you.
Judge Jerry Weiss. Step up here, Judge Jerry.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jerry Weiss. I'm the District Court Judge in Department 30. I've been there since I was elected in 2010. 2.5 years along with the rest of these guys, some of them. But I have an all-civil calendar. I was, prior to being elected, I worked for about 17 years in private practice. I did grow up in Vegas along with some of these other people. I went to Rancho High School, went away for college because we didn't have a law school here at that time. One of the things that some of you might appreciate is I'm on the advisory board for the Canyon Springs High School. One of the things I do is to try to bring other people to Canyon Springs and bring Canyon Springs to the community. Along with Judge Kishner, who we'll talk to you in a minute, she and I have started an internship program that we're allowing the high school kids to participate in an internship at the court. I'm very proud of that. I also work with a group called Project Real to bring education and citizenship to the community and to the schools. And I think that's important. Thank you.
Great, good job. Judge Joanna Kishner, please. Stack the audience with family members, huh?
I stack the audience with a proud member of our Clark County School District, my daughter Jillian, and I too am a proud member of the Clark County School District because my birth certificate says rural Las Vegas. I was born and raised here, and I was very fortunate that growing up in this community, I knew I wanted to be a judge down the road. Yes, I've got a family of lawyers, and I wanted to give back to our community. So thank you for the community for electing me in 2010. I've been on the bench. Department 31, I'm kind of the easy department to remember because think of Baskin-Robbins. Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors, I'm the Department 31. One of the things very important to me, really, and it's because I am a working parent and I'm a member of this community for such a long time, is when I took the bench, I wanted to ensure that I could bring access to justice, not just in my daily decisions, which are so very important to me for each and every litigant that comes before me, but to open it up to the community. As Judge Weiss said, as part of that, we have an internship. I'm on the board of ATEC, the Advanced Technologies Academy, and we allow high school students to come into our courtrooms and work on some certain decisions that have already been published to try and help us do a database and to encourage them to make the right decisions and allow them opportunities to see justice in action. I'm also the judge on the Legal Aid Pro Bono Advisory Council, and I just was actually asked by District Court Judge, Federal District Court Judge Boyd George to help with the Open Courtrooms program, which allows people from foreign countries to come into our courtrooms. And I do want to give a quick shout out. I see Sam King in the audience. Judge Weiss mentioned Project Real. Project Real is one of those great opportunities for students, so for students and parents, that allow kids to get bused free of charge to come into the courtrooms, and they've got some other programs that allow true access to justice. So please take us up on it. We've got a courtroom open for you, and let's help you get where you need to be. Thank you so much.
We have another student who shadowed Judge Alf. Irene, you come forward. Irene's also involved, is a student here and involved with trial by peers. So please tell us about your experience.
Well, good morning. My name is Eileen Perry, and I had the amazing opportunity of shadowing Judge Nancy Alf. Now, aside from being an amazing judge, Judge Alf's personality is amazing. I mean, she is extremely kind, and when she talks to you in such a calm, patient, and cool manner that you feel completely comfortable. Now, I got to experience her in the courtroom and as an attorney myself because I'm part of a program, Trial by Peers, which is where I am assigned misdemeanor charges on juveniles in the district, and she was my judge in the last case, and she's going to be my judge again next week. And she is completely fair to everyone in the court. She is considerate of all the people in the jury. She is very respectful, and she treats everybody like they should be treated. She's a reasonable judge. She's a great person. And I feel very grateful that when in the future I'm an attorney, I'm going to be able to say that I got to have such an amazing experience with Judge Nancy Alf. And I want to give a big thank you to Veterans in Politics for letting me be a part of this great program. But the biggest thanks really goes to Judge Alf because I am really grateful to be part of a community that has such a great judge like her.
Thank you so much. I understand you're also the campaign manager for the re-election to Nancy Health campaign. Marvelous. Okay, let's go to the audience. We've got a couple of great questions. And what I'll do is I'll pose the question and then ask you to raise your hand and come up and give 1 minute answers. Here's the question. What is the court's position on attorney unethical conduct? Under what conditions would attorney unethical conduct be tolerated by the courts? When there is attorney unethical conduct, it compromises the integrity of the judicial process whose job is it to administer discipline. So talk to us about attorneys and unethical conduct. Raise your hand. I'll call on you. If you don't raise your hand, I'll call on you. Judge Barber.
Well, by the form of the question, the conclusion is that an attorney is acting unethically. That's wrong. In my view, there's a twofold analysis that has to happen. The conduct is so egregious, is so unethical, that it constitutes contempt, potentially contemptuous behavior under Chapter 22, that's Nevada law. Then the judge can take action if it's in his presence or her presence. If the contemptuous or the actions, unethical actions, are outside the presence of the judge under the rule, you have to refer that to another judge and have affidavits submitted in support and have an independent analysis of that action done. If the conduct is of a type that the judge, presiding judge, or frankly a litigant believes should be reported to the bar has primary responsibility over supervising the conduct of the attorney, and they conduct hearings and they sanction lawyers in a manner in accordance with their rules. But that's a separate determination, a separate action. That can be taken independently by a citizen or a litigant, another lawyer. I hope that answers.
Excellent answer. Comment on attorneys. Are most attorneys that come in your courtroom ethical? Are they professional? Do they conduct themselves as professional? Comment on professionalism by attorneys. Someone. Judge Miley.
I'm sitting here thinking over the course of the years I've been on the bench, which are almost 10 now, how many times I've had to refer an attorney to the bar because of unethical conduct. And I'd say it's less than a handful of times, which means in the thousands of attorneys that I see throughout the years, I think the vast majority of them are very ethical, and I think the vast majority of them do care very much about the process. Because ultimately, if there's one bad attorney, unfortunately, it taints many bad attorneys. So I've had really good experience.
Great answer.
I did not write this. I wish I would have. The question is, often people with no means of coming up with bail. Okay, what they're saying is, there's people who don't have bail.
So the money.
Yeah. They often plead just so they get out of jail. And as public defender, as the defender of indigents, I can tell you that happens all the time. What is your thought on this? So I'm going to ask one of the criminal judges, and I will start. Judge Dare.
This is an excellent question, and I think it's also a difficult one. As Phil said, we are aware that this does sometimes happen. As the judge, you're generally not aware at the time that the plea is entered that this may be a motivation. And this is particularly true